Earthquake camera. There. That's absolutely not better. It's... Oh no. The camera has...
Need to get a new tripod.
I think I might need a new tripod. Sorry folks, hang on. Let me try.
Let's just get a really good one then. How much was that one?
Only like £30 or something.
What?
Sorry, no, 13, not 30. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Right, just give it a moment to let people.
You know, like the middle dial tightens it.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
forgotten how to use it.
No, I'm using it properly.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very sure, thank you. Although one of my legs is short. Wow, that was an earthquakey start to this one. Oh no. Bum, bum, bum. Hello. How do we Nosna. Is it Nosna? Is that right? Hello. Welcome. Are you coming to watch? Are you joining along with us? See, I'm just you've caught me. I'm still preparing and putting everything together. Have you got your ingredients? Are you going to be joining in? It's exciting. We've not done this before, so it's going to be quite fun, this. Just give it a couple of minutes, because I know there's a couple of people who've... You're doing it along too. Hey, super duper. Lovely. Oh, welcome. NWKB, hello. And you're here too? Marvellous, super duper. We've got two people doing this. This is fun. Julio, you're ready too? Marvellous, super duper.
Super duper.
It's even better than a normal super duper. It's super duper.
Duper square.
Duper square. It's about as good as my maths get. Oh dear. So I'll give a few minutes for anyone else who's coming along to come and join in. How's everyone's weekend going? Everyone had a good one? Did people generally boycott, if you're in the UK, the opening of the pubs for fear of infection, or did we barrel forth and go and have drinks? I know NWKB, Julio, you were doing a charity stream. Marvellously done, the pair of you. I thought that was a super effort.
Oh yeah, Overcooked 2 looks
We're buying Overcooked 2 because of you guys. We haven't actually got it. We will do very, very, very soon. Definitely home. Yes, yeah. I have to sort of fingers crossed. It's super. We watched you for hours. We literally just deployed snacks. We got some. Everything going good with yes, all good here. Yes, we had a similar weekend to NWKV and everyone else. We kind of just stayed in, relaxed, did bits and bobs. We've had a very industrious morning. We've been cleaning most of the morning anyway.
not for like.
Okay, not for a few hours. Okay.
Like an hour and a half.
I'm going to backtrack. For an hour and a half, we were highly industrious. Then it kind of sort of petered off. No, it was our pleasure. I'm sorry that we missed Overcooked 2, but the end of it looked phenomenal. So we're definitely going to buy that. And was it Bleeding Edge? Looked like absolute chaos. It just looked like bedlam. It was marvellous. And you raised, was it £290? If I remember right? So I marvel at the bravery of £232. That is very impressive. Marvel, congratulations. That's superbly done. I did like watching as the sort of I can't remember, someone called out "Let's all go" as a 4 because they've only got one more kill to go, and then you just sort of panned sadly and watched as someone on their own just went boom. Just imagine this sort of never mind, there was a plan there somewhere, but it's sort of fallen through. Oh goodness, it did make me laugh. That was very funny. Well, I'll tell you what, we will get started. If anybody joins in and says, oops, I'm sorry I'm late, then they can just sort of catch up, I think. So this recipe I'm going to take you through does call for a bread mixer, but I don't have one. So the nice thing about this is the way we did it is you can absolutely do this with no equipment. And we should have at the end of it some very tasty Korean milk bread, which what we're aiming for is a cross between a brioche and a croissant. And I think this is how I'm smiling because I can't really say the word croissant properly. I always say it poorly. Croissant. I always say croissant. Sort of French lilt at the end.
Even the French don't say it like that.
I have to find someone on Twitch who's French and say, how do you say it? And then realise that I won't be able to hear because it'll be in chat. So I'll tell you what, let's get started with our first bit of equipment needed. So what we're going to do, if you haven't already, is get your butter and your egg, and we want these at room temperature. Now, if you saw me on Instagram, you realised having given that salient advice to others, I forgot and promptly shoved it down my apron. So it's now nicely warmed up. But if you need to, take a moment. Just what you need is, let's see, for the starter, you can leave this for now. We will need in due course 60 grams. So if you haven't got it to room temperature, maybe chop yourself 60 grams, get it slightly warmed. You don't want it melting, so put it on the lowest possible setting and just gently bring it to, so it's not sort of, you know...
You mean in a microwave? Because I don't think you said anything about
Did I not?
No.
Take a step back. In a microwave. I was pointing here. What I'm pointing at, in fact, is a microwave.
Oh, Lord.
This is going well. So in fact, we don't need this just yet. Let's take a step back. Start by grabbing yourself your set of scales. And what we want to do is make ourselves a roux. Now, what I'd suggest, the easiest way to do this, and Falama, thank you for joining us, Falama. You're most welcome. It's very good of you. I hope you're having, if you're in the chat, a lovely day. I shall be sure to come along and say hello when we are not live. Thank you very much. So what we're going to start with, and I find this the easiest way, is get the pan that we're going to make the roux in. You only need a small one. You'll guess we need a whisk in a moment. Pop the pan on and set it to 0, so reset it so the pan's weight's not balanced into it as well. And we then want to add bread flour. Big baking fan. Hello, Falama. Although mainly stream games on here, so happy to see a baker stream. We do a lot in the kitchen, Falama. You will be most welcome here. From baking to curing to fermenting to getting it wrong quite a lot. That happens. We do plenty of that. Probably more than the gaming, actually. And you use Shipton Mill. Hey, there we go. Not that good. I do like that. I really do like that flour. And it's nice to be able to buy not from a supermarket as well and help out folks direct. So, grab yourselves, we want 22 grams of your bread flour. So let's just pour that into the pan. Doesn't matter that it's going straight in, it will be absolutely fine. Are you joining in with us, Falama? You're just popping in to see what's what. So that's 11. The really nice thing is if this goes as well as it did the first time, this was nearly bulletproof for us in terms of a recipe. Now I've just put a little bit too much in here. Now, for anyone who's a bit new to baking, obviously make sure your hands are clean before you start. I should have said that. This is why I'm yet to do an actual television show of baking. I would give you vital instructions halfway through, and then people would look perplexed. You're streaming later. Well, if you're hanging around, Falama, what I'm going to do is when we take a break for the proving, I'm going to host anyone that might be streaming. So if you want to actually stream in our break, we will come and happily raid across and send everyone over, and we will come and watch you whilst the bread's proving.
Can you do that from your phone?
I think I can. I really hope I can. Otherwise, I'm going to have to encourage you by the positive vibes through the phone to go to the person that I select, and we'll figure it out. I will admit, actually, now that you mention it, Mrs. Allen, I can't see how I type into the chat. Tiny technical tweak, we'll fix that. So, 22 grams of flour, give it a pat so it's sort of evenly distributed. Oh, thank you, NWKB, that's marvellous. I've not actually quite done it through the phone yet, so you can help me out. And anyone can put their hand up at the time, and I'll flip a coin, I'll pick a number out of a hat, and if there's more than one person who wants to be hosted, we'll pick then. So Next, reset your scale again and take your pan off. I'm going to do it this way, but if you want to do it straight into the pan, you can do that. And I've only done this in advance, so I didn't have to turn my back and go to the sink. We then want to get ourselves 60 ml of water. So if you grab yourselves that, I'll hang on for a moment. And the only reason I'm going to do it from a jug to the pan is personal preference. If you want to put it straight in the pan, absolutely fine. But I'm doing this mostly so people can see what it is I'm up to. There are a few better ways really to spend a Sunday than creating... We've got tons of bread at the moment. Actually, we've got 2 loaves we made last night, which actually proved rather tricky for me because the bottom decided to just not rise at all. So I then had to put on kitchen foil right over the top of it to start it catching, and then keep baking it for absolutely ages, and the bottom is still only just done, which is a little disappointing, but still it's a tasty loaf. Wouldn't you say, Mrs. L? Is it a tasty loaf?
Yeah.
I get the thumbs up of approval. Tasty loaf. A side recipe. Yeah. I was just doing it last night as we were watching NWKB, Nosna. I just thought, yes, we'll just whip up a couple of loaves. In fact, here it is. A large loaf. A recipe sheet. I'm going to put the recipes, Nosna, onto the channel's Discord. I'm going to probably actually sit for an hour at some point and just have a gentle stream and chat to people and put recipes up. And the Discord link is in the info section of the channel. So this will all go up in due course. So now that we've got our 60 ml of water, I want you to add in 60 ml of your milk. And because baking is a finicky thing, be careful not to go over. You can add, you can't subtract. And what makes this recipe very interesting compared to others is I've never done there we go, 60 ml dead on. I shall put my milk back in the fridge. I'd suggest we all do the same. In fact, the washing machine is singing in the background now, telling us that it is done. Right. Washing machine having a little sing to itself. Right. So, now we've either got... no one else has to do this, but I'm going to turn us around. We've been having camera angle issues for the first time in a while, so I'm sorry about that. So there we go. Here's a little view of our bread station. So we've got our flour. You've either already mixed this, don't worry if you haven't, but I'm going to put this, I'd suggest we all pour it in now if we haven't already. So there we are. Go. Now we want to put this onto what is described as a medium heat. For me, I'm on gas, so if you're on, shout out if you've got hands-free. Who's gas and who's induction? Who's got what? Because I'd say if you're gas, I'm going to put it literally at a half heat, just to start with. Your electric, how high does it go, NWKB? How far is your, how far does the induction go? Is it 1 to 10? Or does it, he says 1 to, I'd go for 3. Start with 3. So if everyone goes basically to their half heat, what I want you to do, grab your whisk. It's always a good bit of advice. Just give it a little stir to start with. Just count for about 10 seconds. Let's just start mixing this in as the heat starts to come in. Not expecting great things to start with, so if it looks like it's boiling too much, turn it down a bit more. You only want this to be a gentle process, otherwise it'll end up sticking to the base and you get a fairly unpleasant mess. So stop whisking after about 10 seconds, and we're going to go for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll time us, that's all right. Let's just do 3 minutes. And every 10 or 15 seconds or so, I'm going to count in my head, drop back in with a whisk, just give it a little bit of a whisk. as one does with a whisk. Marvellous commentary, this, isn't it? What do you do with a whisk? Whisk things. So, I'd say it's about time. Let's get our whisks back in. Just give it a bit of a whisk. I've got a couple of bubbles forming up the side, which is no problem if you've got that too. Nothing really should be happening so far. That'll probably do. Pop it back out again. We're going to wait for another 15 seconds. Oh, Falama, you're very kind. Thank you very, very much. I would genuinely like to do some voiceover stuff in the future, like audiobook things. I don't think I do personally. I've actually listened to myself recorded back, and it's one of those things when you hear yourself for the first time, it's awful. I couldn't stand it. It nearly made me taciturn and not want to speak again. And here's an example, folks. Mine is now a little too high. So I'm going to put the whisk in again, and I'm going to drop it down if you're on gas to about 4. Because we only want to go slowly, slowly, slowly. Because it will start to thicken. So another 10 to 15 seconds. Mine is disobeying the recipe and is going very fast indeed. If yours is too, turn it down a bit more. Candyman, hello Candyman. You're very kind and welcome, welcome, welcome. Now interestingly, if yours is starting to thicken like that, we're not quite there, but we're nearly. So for some reason, mine is going a lot faster. If yours is starting to look like that, you're nearly there. So I'm going to now just do this fully. I do indeed need constantly. Thank you, Mrs. O. Because we are nearly there. What we're looking for is when you make track marks across the bottom and it sticks. Now, mine for some reason, and this just shows the...
I think it happened last time as well. I don't think we were doing it for the full time.
Did it not actually do it for the full 2? Interesting. Right, because we've now got a thick, and I'm taking it completely off the heat. We have our roux. Okay, Mrs. Owl is coming in here for a second opinion. Hang on. That to me is done.
Yeah. Oh.
That has leapt forward. So if yours doesn't look like this, keep going.
I think you had
keep
it on
whisking.
higher temperature.
I was right down at 3, and last time I did it at 5. It's just a funny beast. So
keep stirring.
So I'm going to keep doing this just to make sure it doesn't...
Because it's quite a few lumps. Oh, okay. Wait, was that just for the initial stage?
That was the initial stage. That has leapt forward, so we'll have to... Very fitting top on Mrs. Owl, indeed. It is Sunday. Hashtag Fun Day Sunday. So I'm just going to do that whilst you guys get to this stage. Let me know when you're there, because when you track, you should leave marks across the bottom. And baking truly is a fickle thing. Some days it works perfectly. Some days it's an absolute menace. But once you're there... What's that, my love?
I think it's going to go wrong.
It's not going to go wrong. We're going to have many perfect milk breads at the end of this. So you can just let this cool at that point. Don't worry, once you get to that point, flour should be all mixed in. Once it is, just checking mine is in fact. Yep, all looking okay. Getting there, not just yet. Don't worry, we will wait. We're all in this together. We're all having fun with it. Oh, I forgot my cup of coffee. Hang on a minute. Dear me, can't forget a cup of coffee. Get in there, not there just yet. You guys will probably end up with a better roux than me, funnily enough.
Oh no.
Because, well, NWK, what's up?
I think a wasp came in.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. Look, it's up there.
Okay. I may have to go and dispose of a wasp, folks. I'm just, a full on, I completely agree. Room temperature makes it a very fickle thing. This is how, will you come and say hello to folk and I shall do a swap with you and remove said offending wasp. Yours is good now, no way. Right, whilst we are, in fact Mrs. Owl may be able to help us here. So we've done the roux, so what we are doing next, you can guide the folks through step 1. So here's a swap, here's Mrs. Owl.
I need to put this over here because otherwise I can't look at it.
Okay, let me just...
Oh, so next we need to mix the dry ingredients.
Yes, mixing dry ingredients is next.
Okay, have you measured them? No.
Not yet. We need to do that too.
Okay, cool.
That's...
Okay. Scale again. And a bowl. You're going to need a big bowl because
I should have specified. Right?
it's just easier. It gives you more room for mixing stuff.
I can confirm
I'm sorry that I don't... It's not. It's a wasp.
Too small.
It's definitely a wasp.
I've annoyed it, whatever it is. How are we doing over there, Mrs. Allen, folks?
Not well.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
Unit grams 0. 0? 0. Okay. Right. So, we're mixing all the dry ingredients, which is flour, sugar, yeast, and salt.
Of which I've measured none. And did you hear Fulama actually uses the same
Flour, yeah.
flour as us? Shipped in milk?
Okay, so we're doing 330 grams of the same flour. So white. Make sure it's white bread flour. So 330.
I can report two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, it was definitely a hoverfly. Two, I've got it.
How do you know it was a hoverfly?
Because I looked at it before I threw it out the door.
It definitely was a wasp.
However, mission accomplished.
Well done. I'm just putting in the 330 and then I'll hand back over to you.
Okie dokie.
But maybe I'll just stay nearby because it's easier if I just tell you the measurements.
Okay.
Then you flick in between pages.
Well, that would help. Thank you very much. 330. Lovely. Jubbly.
Okay.
Small explosion of flour.
Never ending flour. I know, right?
Oh, hang on. You've not seen anything.
Yeah, we bought a new one.
We for baking reasons, we thought we might need a bit more. Now this is the never end. Yes, 330. Sorry, and NWKB. 330 of your bread flour.
330 grams.
Yes. So I shall remove the monster pack, which we are.
Shall I move this out your way?
Oh, thank you very much.
Right. So here's your
Here
bowl.
we go. Thank you. Thank you.
And then you need a teaspoon of salt. Do you have a teaspoon?
I neither have a teaspoon, but we do have the salt.
Okay.
So, folks, if we've all got our thank you very much, Mrs. Allen. One could not hope for a better coach chef, or as NWKB pointed out when we were playing Overcooked, head chef. So with this, I don't think we're using cooking salt. Honestly, at this point, if you haven't got cooking salt, don't worry. I realise I put on
just fine salt. I think,
fine as you
because
can get.
You don't unlike this person here.
Unlike me,
want to use sea salt or anything like that.
I do love sea salt.
It's too strong a flavour.
So we've got our 1 teaspoon in, and we shall pop this to one side because in the middle, I maybe have hinted I'm going to try and make a second version of the milk bread, a cinnamon milk bread with perhaps even traces of honey, but I'm still weighing that up. We'll see how that goes. So in goes our salt. What do we need next?
Now we need 50 grams of sugar.
50 grams of sugar. Because
it doesn't specify which sugar the recipe doesn't.
No. So I went for castor, mostly because from what Mrs. Owl has shown me from vlogs and the like, Koreans particularly have got quite a sweet tooth. So I thought that this would be best. What's Falama say? Sea salt is too much for within the mix for sure.
Yeah.
Some people might top that. Yes, quite right. And indeed, it's exactly like a pretzel. Falama, I'm teaching you metaphorically to suck eggs, aren't I? You're oh, good. Right. Falama, no, she's married to a Korean.
I'm so jealous.
What do I say to that, folks?
I'm joking. You're going to make kimchi soon.
I am. Oh, yes, stay tuned. I'm desperate to make kimchi. Anyway, sorry, I'm nattering here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Castor sugar, 50 grams. If you're tempted, NWKB, and you want to do it, I will show you when we do this one. So you can either have a plain. Full Armour says some people do have open marriages. So that's where you've been off to at the Korean market. Oh, dear me. So, gently does it. 50 grams.
And then 7 grams of yeast.
Thank you very much. And 7 grams of active dried yeast.
Yeah, so different yeasts act differently, so it's going to be difficult to advise if you don't have a yeast that can go straight into the dough.
Yes. Have we all got active dried yeast? I'm hoping I remembered to... Ooh.
I'm just taking it off you for...
I'll hold my fingers here. It'll appear
how to use quick yeast.
I hope I put it in the Instagram recipe, but I'm pretty sure say active dried.
So regardless, on the side of your yeast packet, it will say if you can just mix it straight into the dry ingredients, and if you can, then you can do this. You can just put it straight into the dry ingredients.
So have we all got a pack of yeast where we can go straight into the bowl? Because if not, don't worry, I can...
Then you have to activate it.
Yeah, I can talk you through activating it. Won't be a problem at all.
But anyway, it's 7 grams.
7 grams.
Yeah.
So let's all have a look at the side of our packs.
Yeah, because I'm going to look at this other yeast that we've got.
Oh yes, because we got you got a great action yeast, marvellous. Is everyone else great action yeast? It should say on the side that you can, for example, I'll try and show this up to the camera. Yeah, fast. So if you look at these side instructions, ours says, for example, combine the flour, yeast, sugar and salt. Now, if it says something like that, it means you don't have to activate it. Funnily enough, I do with this, with the other breads, but that's just me being me. But this, if you've got something wording like that on the side,
you can put it straight
absolutely, you can drop it straight in. NWKB, does it say anything like that, for example, underneath the ingredient list or near any recommended recipe? Or indeed, if there's a section that says, for example, how to use the fast yeast. I strongly suspect if you've got fast action, if it doesn't say anything, yours are 7 gram packets. That, to me, sounds like...
They're ones you can put straight in.
It does, yeah. I tell you what, have you got the brand name, NWKB? What's the name of it? Because we can look it up on another phone quickly and just have a look for you.
Yeah, but I imagine that different brands will do both types.
A Morrison's Own. My gut says yes. What? One sec, you'll check. Okay, no worries. How's everyone else doing? And whilst we're here, whilst we're checking in NWKB, when we come back, and Julia indeed, I am imagining this is a team effort, just give a little circular motion shake to your ingredients, because we're going to want these mixed all in due course.
Yeah, they need to be mixed in fully.
Yeah, which we will do.
Yeah, so just shaking it from side to side, isn't it?
A little centrifugal motion will move it in at least to start with. How are you doing, my love?
I'm okay.
You okay? How's your coffee?
I haven't even had it
yet. We do this a lot. I don't know if anyone else does this, but we will make ourselves drinks and then completely forget that we've actually made them and go, oh, there's a cold drink. So let me just have a look up our chat. So Candyman and Nosna, are you guys doing okay? Are you following along? Any problems so far? Or are we all okay? Just a moment. We are going to go with yes. Right you are. Right. If everyone else is good and we're all okay, now we want... He says, flicking on his recipe to check again, 7 grams. So pour straight into your bowl. Reset your scale if you need. I often do, just so that I can measure very precisely, so it doesn't end up with complicated mathematics. So 5. Come on, 6. This last gram is, there we go. It's determined not to go on. There we go. So we now want to mix, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. I'm going to just take the teaspoon that we use to measure up, so I'm just going to just gently mix that together. So then your yeast is mixed in with the flour and the sugar and the salt. And now my suggestion for what will come next is take your spoon and make a little well in the middle of the mixture. And the reason for that is the next thing we're going to do, and I like a klutz, in fact, put my milk away, which was foolish. So once you've got the well, put it to one side, and we're now going to warm up our milk. So, it's rather foolish of me to put it back in the fridge. This is where this is an interesting interpretation of how hot this should be. In fact, we're going to use this for milk, so it's all right.
Can you put that in the microwave?
It's a good question. I might be better with a bowl. Okay.
Or a mug.
Or a mug.
Whatever, just something you definitely microwave safe.
Yes. Find something that is microwave safe, folks. A mug or a bowl. Don't be like me. In fact, one time, a little story from when I first started doing this. I tried to disinfect and sanitize a jug for one of our fermenting projects and forgot the lid was plastic. So I opened it up and pretty much fumigated the entire downstairs of our house and gave myself sort of a gentle fumigation in the face of plastic. Not nice. So, nattering over. What we now want is 120 millilitres of milk. So I'm just going to change my units here on my scale to millilitres and naught. And remembering that the camera... yeah, it was not a good moment for that. I was going, oh, bother. I think is the polite, stream-friendly version of my utterance at that particular moment. As well, it was worse because poor Mrs. Owl was taking a nap at the time, and I thought I'd be really good here and I shall get ahead with preparation and be suitably impressed. 120, there we go. And simply had to come down to find that I've basically just destroyed the thing. Now, pop your milk into your microwave safe bowl, and here is where the recipe I've used is suitably bizarrely vague, but works. What the recipe I found says is you want to warm this up until it feels like very warm bath water. Never heard anything like that before. So what I'm going to suggest for all of us, you can, if you want, go back onto your pans, but I think the microwave is just easier. So I'm going to pop this in, and we're going to just do this together in batches. So I'm going to put my microwave to a half heat. So yeah, you know, definitely not scalding. Definitely warm. There's a genuine point here. If it's too hot, we might actually kill off part of the yeast process. So we definitely go for warm, not too hot. I think they think more than lukewarm, higher than tepid, lower than hot. It's bizarre, this bit. So it's a bit of an experimentation.
Just imagine getting into a bath of milk. What temperature would you want the milk to be?
I don't often imagine getting into a bath of milk. Oh, hello, Vision. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's lovely to have you. Are you? I imagine if you're joining in, you might be a little late, but if you want to watch this back in a minute, you could probably have a crack at this, or you can watch our efforts. So I've just done 1 minute to start with in the microwave on half heat.
But also, if you have a thermometer, there is a temperature.
Yes, there is, but for me, we got to the right temperature long before it got to, what it says for us is 110 degrees C. However, given that boiling is 100 degrees C, I think there was a mismatch in the recipe. Because when I put it in and I got to very warm, it hadn't reached there yet. But I think trial and error at this point is maybe the best way forward. In fact, the third time I do this, what I might do is measure what temperature it is. So let's just pop that out. I'm just going to dab the back of my finger in it. Now for me, that's nearly there. And I had that on 360 on of I think it's an 800...
So it's 360 watts.
360 watts, yeah. I've forgotten what the 360 was. I did that for a minute and it's nearly there. So, I'm going to give it another 15 seconds on 360 watts. And I think that'll be absolutely there.
Are you sure?
Yeah. This is how it looks sceptical. If we get it wrong, we'll try again. It's a little wasteful, but...
It's very wasteful.
The good question for Falama, isn't there a max temperature that yeast can handle? Do you know? I don't know. I will find out. That's a very good question. Yes, for me, that's now just right. So, if you haven't already tried it, 115 seconds maximum on 360 watts in the microwave. And I've splashed milk everywhere, so hang on, let's just... Where's my cloth gone? There it is. Hang on. We clean as we go. Clean as we go. Oop! Accidentally open the microwave as we go. There we are. Right. So if we've all got our milk nicely warmed, what we now want to do is pour in, straight into the well, our milk, our single egg, slightly warmer than lukewarm. Yeah, that's about what I'm looking for, NWKB. That's about it. So now we're going to pour that, our roux starter, and our egg straight into the middle. If you need a spatula for the roux, that's no problem at all. Don't be alarmed, that's fine. So I'm going to just pour that straight into the middle. Dispose of that, I'm not going to need that. So then I'm going to crack our one egg into the middle. There we go. It's very ingredient light, this. It's not much there. So now, for example, the roux that we did is quite solid, so I'm going to drop that in. Don't be worried as well if you feel, oh goodness, I've got to do it all really quickly and really quickly. This is a fairly forgiving recipe. It will forgive you for taking your time, so don't worry. Now I've got quite a good silicone spatula here that is dying a death, but it will get in between the tongs of my whisk quite nicely. So let's just get all of that in, or indeed as much as we can. Now this is the part where we may go quiet in chat and I may simply talk to you and tell you many an interesting thing if I can think of them, because you will start to get your hands full now and probably just a little bit mucky. Part of the fun. So I shall not be alarmed if I don't hear anything from you. But if you need me to stop, or you have to stop and type a message, don't worry. I will tell you the timings that we need in just a moment.
But
so,
also there's hand whisk options.
There is, true. If anyone has a hand whisk, you can go ahead and use it at this point. I'm going to be doing this by hand and by hand tools.
Like a hand, if you have a hand mixer that has like a dough hook attachment.
Yes. Does anyone have a hand whisk with a dough hook attachment, or indeed a bread maker or a kitchen whisk that has a dough hook? Because if you do, we can use those. I'm going to use our brand new wooden implements. What shall we use? Just got these. They're lovely looking things.
What are you using that for?
Because we're going to mix before we knead. What we're now going to do is slowly mix for 5 minutes. I'm even going to time it for us. So if anybody has got a machine, when does the butter go on? The butter does indeed go on later. So don't worry, for now, let's get all of this mixed together. Just 5 minutes, gentle mix. I tend to use the stand mixer with a dough hook. Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes, you didn't miss the butter. Don't worry. For now, we are just mixing all of this in together. The butter will come shortly. And once you've done this and tried this and the recipe's up, if you want to prepare the butter in advance, then you absolutely can do. There's no problem with that. And obviously, you can see here, and don't be alarmed, it is very sticky, and this will give you a little bit of a workout if you're not using a dough hook. It will stick to your implement, It will be quite a sticky mix. Don't worry, that doesn't mean you've done it wrong. What made us choose the recipe in particular? Mrs. Owl is the short answer. Mrs. Owl saw it in one of the videos she was watching. It looked delicious. She showed it to me. My stomach growled and said, that looks divine. Let's give it a go. In fact, one of the things we'll probably buy in the future is... How would you describe it, my love? The dough hook that's just on its own, as it were.
Huh?
Do you remember you were looking up kitchen implements? And there was. So I'm going to do this here, guys, just so you can see it. Nothing more adventurous than that. You know, you were looking up kitchen implements, and you could press it down, and it.
Yeah, that's just a whisk.
That's a whisk. Was the one with the dough hook attachment as well?
No, so that's a hand mixer.
That's a hand mixer,
like the one
right?
That we bought that we're waiting to be delivered.
Yeah.
You can get a dough hook attachment.
Okay. Ah, right. Okay. I mean, that would make this obviously a lot easier, but there's... Oh, he says falling over. There's something quite rewarding, I think, about doing it by hand. So, as you're doing it as well, I tend to scrape along the sides of the bowl because we don't want to lose really any of the ingredients as much as we can. So we're just going to do this for 5 minutes. Swap arms if you need to. Consider this, everyone, the workout that justifies eating a delicious dessert. So, I mean, it doesn't really, but don't tell anybody. We'll keep that a secret. That's our secret, everybody. You probably burn off about 2 calories doing this. But then again, if you ever see a sort of traditional baker without the ingredients, and they have arms that could really sort of crush a man's skull, there clearly is something in it in terms of a workout. Just forget the gym, just go and offer to go and help in a bakery. So there we are. So we've got 2 minutes left to go. Obviously, if you've been timing it yourselves and you know you've got a little less or a little more, don't worry. Just when the 5 minutes is over, that will do very nicely. So I'll show this. I've been stopping in between mine. So we're getting a nice blend. There's not a great deal of ability here to spot the different ingredients now as it was before. We've got no visible flour, for example. Ooh. I have a bead of sweat upon my brow that says more about the state of my fitness than I think anything else. Here we are. So we're closing in. And as you say, if you fancy doing more baking, or you like Falama and got the equipment, obviously at this point you can sort of step back, have yourself a nice cup of tea or something, and let the the slightly heavy breathing commentary as a slightly overweight, unfit chef.
You're not overweight.
A little bit.
No, you're not.
I'm harder to kidnap than most. That's the way we view it, folks. Winter is coming, folks. Get padding. You know, no one will kidnap you then. You know, harder to get in the back of a van. So I've got another 37 seconds. I could probably stop now, but I shall be diligent to my 5 minutes. Yeah, this is why there's very few kidnap scenarios that happen in a bakery. So actually, I'll spend the last couple of seconds just scraping down the sides. Try and get as much as we can, because then we're going to move on to our butter. So as you're doing this, hopefully you've now got... Well, the lighting wasn't brilliant there. Hang on. Oh, that's why I've knocked the light. Hang on.
And also the lights aren't on. Do you want to...
Oh, yes, please. Could I have the lights on?
Do you have the
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Mrs. Owl is currently doing her nails. That's 5 minutes.
Put them both on. No, yeah.
Aha, we have more lights. There we go. Pop that to one side for a moment. Now, I've got this out for, I'll show you why in a moment, for rolling out in due course. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to measure out our butter on a different chopping board. And then wash it up in a moment. So, let's get our scales back again. And we want it set to grams. Now, if you're like me and you've had your Robbers don't want to kidnap peoples in bakeries. They're in it for the dough. Do you know, I didn't see that. I did not see that joke coming. I should have done. Bravo, Falama. That's it, folks. No more bad jokes for the rest of the stream. The game has been played and won in one fell swoop. No one is topping that, I don't think. They're in it for the dough. Ah, dear me. Right, okay, so... Sorry, I'm really chuckling about that. 60 grams of 60 grams of butter. Oh, dear me, dear me. So let's just see. Goodness gracious, nearly in one go, 59 grams. So you don't need to be too delicate, by the way, when you're doing that. There we go, 60 grams. We will actually need... I was about to say we will not need the butter. The truth is we will actually need the butter. So you may as well leave it out for now. Once you've got it weighed, I think that will actually do it for the scale. So if you want to tidy up as we go, you can pop them out the way. You're not going to need them, I don't think. If I've got to make you bring them back out again, I'm sorry about that. But so take the butter, pop it onto... In fact, I'll just check our camera angles that you can see that. Onto your chopping board. And then we want them into cubes. Small cube. Mrs. Al did this for me last time, so I'm going to try and match exactly what she did. The reason I'm going to suggest small cubes is because we're now going to mix it in and knead with our hands, and the smaller pieces will blend more easily into our dough. Careful with your hands as you go. We're not in a rush today. As I say, we're breaking this apart with 3 streams as well, so no rushing. Is everyone still, are we all on our butter? We all okay? Shout if not and you need me to slow down, but I'm then going to do it, having done it lengthwise, come down the full length of the butter, so that we've just got small cubes. I shall hold up a piece, see if they're about the size of what Mrs. Al did. I think actually mine are a little bit bigger. So, but pretty small. We're talking about, depending how big your hands are, if you look at, say, for example, the top digit of a small finger, it will be about the nail's worth in terms of size.
Why is that how why wouldn't you say, like, it's about a centimetre cube?
Because I've got very big hands. Actually, it would make more sense to measure it like, yes.
Yeah, in actual measurements rather than the fingernail of a small hand.
You know what? The Discord recipe is going to be an interesting thing, isn't it? So there we go. So now we've got, if they will come off my knife, small cubes that you can actually just break apart. I suggest we do that at this point. If they're stuck together at all, let's just break them up. And don't worry about the butter being on your hands. That's actually going to be very, very helpful. Hello, Toomsy. How are you? Toomsy, ladies and gentlemen, happened to be my 50th follower. Happened in the middle of a stream. So welcome to you. Glad to have you back. And we've got lots of people here doing their very best to follow along with my absolutely appalling directions. And Toomsy says, hello, my love.
Hello.
Mrs. Al is currently doing her fingernails, I think.
Yeah. What would you say fingernails?
What did I mean? Doing nails, yes. Yeah, we're very glad to have you back, Toomsy. You're always welcome. In fact, everyone is, even if it's popping in just to say hello or you want a relaxed Sunday afternoon. You're going to have to go, oh, you're streaming in 10 minutes. Fulama, very best of luck. Thank you very much for joining us. If no one else is... Oh, gosh, did I not tell you, NWKA? Sorry, it's 60 grams. Yes, did I completely miss that? 60 grams of butter. I'm going to slow down. Hang on. Double check. So sorry, I thought I'd said that. 60 grams of butter. And Fulama, if no one else is actually streaming at the time, we will come across and we will say hello to you. But if not, we will, I'm sure, catch up with you soon. What are you streaming, Fulama? If you're still with us, And Siren Mayhem, thank you very much. I'm really glad you've enjoyed it, Falama. And Falama says goodbye to you too, Mrs. Ann. Toodaloo from her. No Man's Sky on PS4. Ooh. I recognise the name, but I don't recognise the concept. Maybe you will see us sooner than you think, Falama. So I'm going to pause for a second, and sorry, thank you very much, Sirena Mayhem. Welcome, welcome. You are most welcome indeed. We are currently chopping butter. I'm going to pause for a moment just to check. Have we all got... yes, delighted to have you here. Are you a baking fan? Are you having a good day? I know those that are doing this might not be able to type because... you can. Yes, right. We've got our cubes. So, let's move that out of the way. And what I'd like you to do now... And you need to make some waffles. Oh, jolly good. Savoury or sweet? What are we having? So, everyone else who's joining in, I want you to tip at this point your dough, grab your spatula, and get it all out onto either your work surface, if you're happy to knead straight onto that. I like to use this chopping board particularly. And I'm going to tell you a trick that Mrs. Owl taught me, because I know what's about to happen in a minute, is this will fly everywhere.
What will fly over?
It's a sweet one. Oh, lovely. What are you having with it? Sarina. I once did, because I was having a decadent day, I think I had bacon and ice cream, following a sort of American idea. And I nearly put myself into a sugar coma. If your chopping board that you will use moves around quite a lot, pop a tea towel underneath it. This is all courtesy of Mrs. L. I didn't even know this. Apparently it's common knowledge. And this will stop it from shifting around on your worktop. But if you happen to do it straight onto the worktop, just crack on, ignore that last bit. So take out what will be your very sticky dough at this point. Don't worry, it will fight back a little bit. And then just try and get as much as you can from inside. At this point, I'm going to probably lose touch with the people who are doing this because we are about to get very sticky hands indeed. You may need a friend or a neighbour to come and type for you. In fact, you know, last night, Julia, NWKB, as your stream was finishing, I had exactly that problem because I was in the middle of doing bread dough. I managed to clean a single finger and was using it to type goodnight to you and congratulations. I had one finger. I was trying to use my nose at one point and thought, well, this just isn't working. I had you one in the kitchen through my phone. Right, I've got probably about as much as I'm going to get out of that without taking a sharp implement to it.
Have you already put the butter in?
No, because what I did last time, and this is what worked well for some reason, is flatten it out just a little bit.
You definitely didn't do this.
I did, promise I did.
You didn't. I was with you and I put the butter in. And you did not do it like that.
Really? Because
We put it in the bowl and we mixed a bit and then we put it out onto the...
Okay. Right, well in that case, I've deviated from the last recipe.
I mean, do it how you want, but don't say that.
Because if you take the sides, fold over, and then we're going to start kneading for about 10 minutes. And you'll start to see the butter coming through. And it will then promptly start to melt. Now, there are lots of kneading techniques you can use. There's the one-handed, but I like to try and think of your kneading in quarters. So you've got 1, 2, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you always take from the top and push forward, take from the bottom, push forward, you will rotate the dough through and you'll get a nice, even consistency. And the reason this is such a forgiving dough and a good one for us to be doing here compared to other doughs, it is not sticky at all. Oh, I've realised I didn't click start on the timer. What time is it, my love?
56.
It's 56.
So I'll tell you when it's 6.
Yep, so we're going to do this, folks, for 10 minutes. And what we're doing here is we're activating the gluten inside the bread by applying force and pushing through. Other techniques include the slap, which is that one. I tend to fold, slap down. And those really, to be honest, I think there are other techniques. You can use two hands.
You can use a machine.
You can use a machine, indeed, yes. If you have a machine, please feel free to use. Don't be afraid to, at this point though, put in a bit of force. But you should, and I hope people are doing this, if you find it sticking it, you should be able to bring it in with your fingertips so you're not losing too much of the ingredients. But at the end anyway, I'm going to recommend we grab a spatula, or indeed if you've got one, a cake slice.
It's not.
What is it? I use it as a cake slice.
It's not. It's like a dough thing, a dough scraper.
Oh, dough scraper. Oh, perfect.
Specific for bread making. That's why I bought it for you.
You can tell, folks, this is a professional channel of baking. It is definitely not.
I'm doing this with wet nails.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's all you need to do. I shall grab it when the time comes. Nope, she's going even further. She's brave, Mrs. Owl. Multitasking. Thank you. There indeed is Mrs. Owl. Do you want to show them your nails? No? So, again, don't be afraid to, this is a forgiving recipe. Oh, and what's up?
Oh no, it's okay.
No? We followed it, we're okay.
Yeah, but...
This, however, and the reason I say don't be afraid of it is because when I first did it, I thought I was there at about 7 minutes, and actually carrying on to the full 10, we should see quite a transformation in its texture.
It says, how we did it last time, it says first you need to do it at a medium-low speed for a couple of minutes, and then at a medium speed until the dough becomes smooth and stretchy but a little tacky.
Yeah.
So you never did the variants, right?
Nope, I just went straight in and it worked perfectly.
No, last time we did the variants. This is what I'm saying.
I wasn't going slowly.
Medium to low speed.
But this is kneading. There was no... I didn't have a breakdown.
You did.
I promise I didn't.
You did. I was here and I was reading the instructions.
I mixed it and then I put it on here. Because it's my hands. I can't go medium to low speed.
You can. Yes, you can. It's too late now.
Folks, if you're kneading... To be honest, maybe we'll have to do this again for a third time and Mrs. Owl will watch me. But I'll tell you when we get to the consistency that we want, and it should take the full 10 minutes.
If you're gonna, say that we do things differently than we actually did them, I'm gonna stop helping.
No, don't stop helping.
Do you want me to do any scrapey?
How far are we in?
I don't know. I'll check.
There we are. So, I hope people have got nice plans for the week.
You're only 3 minutes in.
I'm 3 minutes in and I'm sweating. Serena, you've not got your Serena. How do we pronounce that? I'm going to go for Serena. How's your waffles? Because the rest of us, I think, have got our hands full. I'm slightly showing off here by doing the one-handed version, but we can do two. So, and the slap, the drop and slap. And I hope everyone else is having a lovely weekend, no matter what you may be up to. This is also something marvellously fun, I think, you can do if you've got nieces or nephews or children of your own. And the reason I'm going to recommend this one is, even if you've missed steps and you have to go back and fix them, I've never seen a bread recipe this forgiving in its preparation. I mean, ever. So just knead. I use that part of my hand and push from bottom to front. Then bring it all around again, using almost the edge of your hand as a scraper.
What about all this bit over here?
That is where you rely on Mrs. Owl and using your fingernails to bring it all in. So far, sticky. It's not quite there yet. It will make an almost full transformation. And once this is done, we are then going to be shaping it into a ball, covering it. Now, as was rightly pointed out by Julia, if you don't have cling film and you like to avoid single-use stuff like that, you can get a slightly damp, clean tea towel and drape it over the top. But otherwise, if you've got, say for example, cling film and you're using it down until you are one-use disposable free, you can use that too. I'm genuinely sweating. Whew. In fact, one thing I am going to have to do is clean that bowl.
Yep. Last time I did that.
Oh, did you? Right, well, I'll do it. So, few last steps before we end this first of our 3 baking streams is... Oh, your nails look lovely. Go on, show the chat.
No.
Go on, they look lovely.
No.
Please?
No.
You nearly caught a glimpse of nail there, chap. Right, I'm going to let Mrs. L to come in and she's going to scoop it all towards the centre. Don't worry if you've not got one of these. You can absolutely just use a knife or your fingers, just bringing it all back into the centre.
Do you want to take it off?
Go on, I'll take it off.
I think you put more on it.
I put more on it? Oh, crap. Right. She'll go again. Right, hang on.
You've got 3 minutes.
3 minutes left. Right, folks. Let's have a 3-minute workout, folks. Let's give this bread a darn good kneading.
But if you need to do it for longer, because the 10 minutes is based on doing it in a machine, really. So
yes.
If it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer.
It does. And what I'm going to do is, in effect, I'm going to say when we've got to what we're looking for so that you can all see what we're aiming for. Because if it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer. If the prove takes a bit longer, the prove takes a bit longer too. Baking kind of doesn't really obey the rules. It will sort of do whatever it wants to do. What's the description?
It is starting to look smoother.
It's starting to look smooth.
So it needs to be smooth and stretchy, but a little tacky.
So tacky we've definitely got, stretchy we've definitely got, but smooth can definitely do with more. I think. So at this rate, because I've not swapped arms, I'm going to have one very large arm by the end of the day. So, again, if you've never kneaded before, I'll slow down a bit because I realise I'm just flying away. Take hand, curve around the right, push, repeat.
You need to be on a medium speed.
Medium speed. This is, hang on, this is how I can describe the speed. Do you want me to go turbo?
No.
What about slow speed?
Medium
Medium speed. I have a button on the side of my leg that you push for.
Because last time it improved really, like in the last 3 minutes.
It did. It improved right at the end.
Do it good.
There we go. Hope everyone's doing all right so far. And if you're anything like me, you can feel the sweat dripping down your back. It's the level of fitness we've got in this kitchen. Apart from Mrs. L. Scoop. Now, for me, in terms of smooth, I think we are nearly there. We're getting there anyway. There we go.
1 minute.
1 minute.
1 minute till we're at the 10.
1 minute till we're at the 10. Right, I'm going to...
And then assess.
You can see probably, folk, you really don't be shy with it. If any of you are thinking, oh, am I going to overdo it? Don't worry. Just, it has to get stretched out. At 10 minutes, and we're going to have a look. I'm going to describe it to you and show it up to the camera. And we'll see if we've got it. Whew.
Okay, it's 6 past.
6 pass, right, we're there. Right, okay, so let's have a look. Now, to me...
Is it only slightly... It says a little tacky.
I mean, that to me is quite tacky. I'm going to say maybe the temperature of the room or something. I think that needs 1 more minute.
Do you think it's smooth?
I do think it's smooth. I'm going to say 1 more minute and I'm going to show you what we've got. And I have a feeling it's about to transform in this last minute.
There's stuff at the bottom.
There is. You're quite right. Woo! Mrs. Al made to mop my brow at some point. But this is, again, the nice thing about not using a machine is you do get that kind of tactile and involved element to your own baking. And you will feel very rewarded when you have that first slice.
I guess a minute's gone.
Guess about. Right, let's just drop that again. Let's have a look. Right.
I mean, it's definitely stretchy, isn't it? It's
definitely stretchy. You can see if you do that.
But is it
I'm
smooth?
happy with the smoothness when you pull it out there. There's no lumps. There's no.
Is that what you see as meaning smooth?
It is.
Okay.
Right. If you can see it, it's quite hard to show, but I'll try and show you. It's going to be quite difficult to show you actually. In terms of tack, if you do that, you can see like these little indentations, but it's not following up your hand the whole way. If you spread it like that, have a look and see whether or not you can see any individual components. If you can't...
That's not what smooth is, I swear.
But in terms of smooth, that to me, and I will describe as smooth.
Pull it into a ball.
Well, I'm going to.
No, but like... Because I see smooth as being when you don't have like lots of... You know, like it comes into a ball and it's like it looks nice, not... Do you know what I mean?
I'm quite happy with that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to ask Mrs. Al to do now is, and also if you're getting more messy, don't worry. Get everything off your hands. Ignore the bead of sweat rolling down your brow. And again, if you need a knife, use a knife. It's quite all right.
Oh, I don't want to cut your hands. Oh, you're getting it on me.
Oh, sorry. Right, shall I take over? Right, hang on.
No, I did it last time.
Okay. So, there we go. Ably but I've got 3 arms in this equation. So, scrape it all together, use a knife, use whatever you've got. How's everybody doing? I realise that now we're probably, those of you who are in my camp, you're going to have to get some of this off your hands as much as you can. You may lose some into the sink. That's okay. Nothing that can be done about that.
Do you want to, like...
Take that off there. Try and get as much as we can. It's like that great joke, isn't it? What can clean a grater? Another grater. Thank you, James Aiscaster, for that one. What can clean doughy hands? Not very much. That wasn't the joke I was making.
Yeah, it's not so bad. Do you want me to wash this?
No, it's all right. I'll do it because I'm about to get the dough off my hands. So I'll. So there we go, folks. 10 minutes. If we get our hands clean, because we'll be doing a bit more. Actually, if you've got another bowl ready, I've got to clean my hands to get the bowl done and do some demonstration. But you can just leave it on your hands because in a minute we're going to turn it over. We're going to make some seams in the bottom of it, and then drop it nicely into our bowl. But we are going to need to rub some butter into that bowl.
Yeah, you
so
need to butter the bowl.
You may be better off washing your hands at this point. You'll get a bit mucky, but that's okay. So you're ready. Right, they've outpaced me. That's true. I shall turn my back for but a moment. Try not to demonstrate the sweat running down my spine.
So yeah, Now, we're just going to do it in the mixing bowl that we've just mixed in before. But if you... just a big bowl, because the dough is going to double in size. So you need a bowl where you've got enough space to allow for that to happen. So you need to butter that bowl. What we do, we just use some kitchen towel, rub it on the butter and then rub it on the inside of the bowl. But if there are any other methods,
you can use...
I'm going to butter this one for now, so we're going to need to butter this one anyway.
That's cool.
You're going to need 2 buttered bowls eventually, so I'm just going to butter this one so we're ready whilst the other one's being washed. I'll give you this once I've done this one.
Thank you. There we go.
It's just so it doesn't really stick too much to the bowl. Just a light coating, you can't really see, slightly shiny.
And thank you, is it Ilana? Ilana, thank you very much for joining us. Most grateful. Welcome, welcome. You have caught me in the middle of sweating and making bread. I can feel my back. Oh dear me.
Right, so that one's done. Do you want to butter this one then?
Yeah, I'll butter this one. Thank you very much. It's the only reason
Shall I leave the milk now?
Yes, I think we're done with the milk. The only reason these recipes really work is that I have someone here helping me.
Do you want me to keep it out for the next one?
Yes, I will quickly whip up our second one. So just a quick coating on the inside, and then what we are going to do... Where's the scrape gone? There it is.
I should now put it over there.
That's all right.
Oh, you
So
still needed it.
I'm going to just... No, thank you, Alana. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. So I just use this to... Essentially, I'm just going to turn it, get it all together. And then because... I'm going to show a technique now, which Mrs. Owl reminded me because I'd forgotten about.
It just... For this first proof, it just needs to be in a ball.
I know, but I'm just going to demonstrate it because this makes a nice bowl. It makes a nice ball.
Okay.
So, in due course, we're going to make a seam on the bottom. Mrs. Owl's quite right. You don't need to do this here, but to create a really, really nice ball, the sort that we'll do right at the end, grab a corner and start folding towards the middle. And what we're going to basically create is almost a sort of, looks like a Cornish pasty on its bottom. And once we've done that, using your hands, your knife, whatever you like, just make sure you've got it all, and then with a quick 1, 2, 3, up into your hands and into your buttered bowl. I've in fact made that harder than it needed to be. And then you've in fact, as you'll see, got almost all of your dough has gone into the mix. You've not wasted a great deal. Now, I made a mess of that, but you'll then end up ready to go, nicely kneaded, and as if by magic, some cling film appears from the left. How did I do that? I've got 4 arms.
Oh, you've got dough on here.
I've got to... Hello, Biscuit. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. And yes, what our streams are about. Amateur, definitely amateur culinary adventures. We are today making Korean milk bread. And by the end of it, myself, NWKB, and in fact a good few others of our stream will all have some baked, equivalent of brioche, with a sort of taste of croissant mixed in there. And there we go. You've caught us just at the end of part 1, in fact. Are we all up to this point now, or have we got a damp tea towel covering the top? Because that is the end of part 1.
Wait, so you need to tell...
I'm going to. As if by magic. I'm going to just quickly lose the dough. Because what we're now going to do is let that prove for the next hour.
No, it's 40 to 60 minutes.
Well, it's 40 to 60 minutes. Yeah.
Or until it's doubled in size.
Yes. Nice. This is a unique stream from our usual people. So you will... Oh, you're going to... Thank you very much, Biscuit. You're more than welcome anytime. I've said 60 minutes there because I went straight from the top.
Okay.
I will take a step back. Technically, it's 40 to 60 minutes, or until it's doubled in size.
But it's a cooler day today in the UK.
Yep, got it in one.
So it's likely to take the full amount of time to double. But just make sure that you put it in the warmest place that you have.
Yeah. So if you've got like a boiler or something that's quite warm near there, put it there. If there's
not too warm, because then
you don't want to cook it, but you want it warm.
Yeah.
We use a chair near to one of our windows because it always has the sun, so it's always sort of quite warm. And it does the trick very well.
You've even got dough on the line.
I've even managed to get dough on the stream light. I've got it everywhere. So thank you very much, Biscuit, and thank you very much, Ilana. How's everyone doing? Is everyone up to this point? Are we there? Have we got it in our buttered bowls?
Shall I go and take it over?
Do you want to? Have I got dough on the sides of this as well?
Yeah, I know. You got dough everywhere.
Okay. There we go. Right. Mrs. Al's going to go and take that away. We have the bowl on the sunny windowsill. Marvellous. Yeah, super. That's perfect. That's exactly the kind of thing that you want. So, now, folks, it's a waiting game. So, what we are going to do is we're going to help out any other small streamers that we might know who may be wanting to have us come along and say hello. Mrs. Al's just going to time an hour for us. And then we're going to come back in an hour's time for part 2. At which point we are going to do just a little bit more work. And whilst that's happening, I'm going to get started on the cinnamon possible honey version that we're doing as well. And NWKB, if you want to just go straight to cinnamon, I'll show you when at the correct moment. So, is there anybody here who is about to stream or wants to be raided or hosted? And NWKB may have to tell me how on earth I do that. Oh, hello. Sorry, you're coming in close to Chef Chest. Hang on, if I...
Did you use this one today?
I did. I'm not using my branded tea towel because I knew I'd be getting mucky. Sorry about the unusual camera angle. So you need to go onto the chat. You do /raid and a person's name. Hang on. My only problem is because I'm on my phone, I can't... I'm clicking.
In the chat.
Thank you, Biscuit. I can't seem to write in the chat is the only problem. How are we going to do this?
Can you just go and quickly go onto your computer?
I could. Shall we run up to the computer, folks? So you've just finished raiding someone else. Oh, jolly good, Biscuit. Well done. Super duper. I think you can do it on the phone. Why is it not letting me? Hang on a minute.
Maybe if you put it the other way around?
Sorry about the earthquake camera works here, folks. I'm just going to turn. Whoops. Hello.
See if that helps.
No, that's not done it. Oh, you can see the bottom of my beard. We nearly had a face reveal. We've got a beard reveal. Hello. Can't hide it now. Fisherman. Right, hang on. I tell you what.
I think you're going to have to do it on the computer.
Right, follow me, folks. Sorry about the earthquaking. Let's go upstairs. Hang on.
I'll wash it up.
No, it's all right. I'm going to have to use some of that in due course anyway. Here we go. This is a whole new thing. We've seen beard. We've seen walking upstairs. Oh, you've heard deep breathing because the chef's out of shape. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go. Where's the power button? Oh, there we are. Right. In fact, have I ever done a setup demonstration? Is there anything here that's going to give away my secret identity as a spy? I don't think so. Yes, still the world's worst spy. Here we go. I'll just do a little pivot around. And here we are. This is where the day job tends to happen. And where our gaming streams take place. Oh, there we are. Right. In fact, say hello to me. Yes, I'm piercing the veil. You know, I've failed twice. I've given away my secret career. You know that I have a beard. Really welcome to Windows. Go away. No, don't do that. Right, here we go. I'm going to leap straight on. Is there anybody that we want to shout out, or we want to go and raid, or anything of that nature? I will happily take suggestions. Did Fullerama say that she was he or she was streaming, or I imagined that? Hang on. Don't speak English quite well, but I understand. Nice advice. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I shall always endeavour to. Oh, there's Fullerama. Hang on a minute. Playing No Man's Sky. Yes, that's what they were. We're going to go there. Right, so, hang on, let's go to channel. A massive view of my stomach there. This is quality streaming. Right, folks, time yourself for an hour. Pop it somewhere warm. We're going to be back in an hour's time where we will do part 2. Until then, let's support someone. Go say hello and give some absolutely chilled support to Fullerama. See if this works. Thank you to everyone who was shouting the helpful advice on how to do this. So, toodaloo for now. And here we go. Let's see if this works. 1 viewer is ready to raid. 2, 7, 6, 5. This is exciting. See you in an hour. Toodaloo. Oh, hang on. 3 are ready. Oh, wait, hang on. 3 are ready to... Hang on. I've not done it right, have I? 3 viewers are ready. Shall we go now? Everyone who's here? Should we do it? I say let's do it. If you're apparently not ready to raid, don't worry. Just follow on and say hello. Toodaloo. See you all in 1 hour's time.
Tonight at like 7. Potentially. I mean, the earliest might be 7:30. So, highlight the chart and plot a route.